The same way the Americans are telling their population now, don't go home for Thanksgiving. I'm not saying to anybody in this country, don't go home for Christmas. But I'm saying as you acknowledge Christmas as a time of family, as a time of community, remember this.
Wait just now, let me take off share party audio. So my chat won't be here and all you.
Cultural responses could, if we are irresponsible, put us
chat.
Where the January numbers could say to us, no school, because we have in fact behaved badly, and the infection rate is so high that we can't even think about bringing children back out to school. That would mean that our children would have been out of school for almost a year. Almost a year. So if you
are you always doing something so wise?
Not only for you, but for the next generation, the children who are not going to school, have a responsible Christmas. Do not encourage congregation and mixing over the Christmas season. I know it's a big ask. It's a big ask. But
oh gosh, buy shorts, buy.
To feel deprived of the Christmas festivities.
Wait, he doing that for spite?
In the early
I know catch.
2021.
He's doing that for spite, so. Wow, just
where
wow.
we are today, one which is not being locked down by family, not being locked down in totality, but one that has been holding the line and doing what had to be done and getting a fairly good result, as against one that felt that we tired. We've been doing this.
The man not over building though, he literally lower than you.
As leader of the cabinet, with the pressure that we under to do this, do that.
Well, that he's supposed to do, he's supposed to build.
And not being able to
just because you don't build, just because you don't build, two people don't have to build.
You're not in the worst possible position. Nothing is perfect. But you compare Trinidad and Tobago with the 50 countries mentioned in this dossier in mid-November. And whether you like us or you like yourself, you will come to the conclusion that Trinidad and Tobago is in a relatively good position. The last time I spoke to you, not last week, and the time before, India, the population of 1 billion people, was being looked at as a country that had literally done very well.
Yeah, sure.
In a particular way. And say, well,
I was phasing like
the vibrant population seems to have been.
You know when the yellow thing
in the last
happened and you just phase?
It has changed
right?
The situation is
that is a touch. That is a touch.
Using the same kinds of laws that we're using here.
I clipped that. What?
Serious difficulty in the United Kingdom, where they had moved to a semi-open but conscious of the danger of the virus. England, Scotland, Wales are now having far more restrictions than we have here in Trinidad and Tobago. In the United States, which is familiar to most of us, many of us have family members in different parts of the United States. The absence of hospital beds in very many cities, especially small cities, is now a crisis. And the infection rate, the explosion, is beyond comprehension. We are not out of that wood. If we do not hold
99, 33,
we too will end up in that situation. Let me repeat that. If the government of Trinidad
it's him 99, then 93, then 100.
Hold the line alongside the cooperating people of Trinidad and Tobago in the pandemic of 2020 November, we too will end up in the same situation of those countries which today had been thought to have been doing well, to have had governments that have done well, to have had decisions that evaded the disruptions, only to find out that there are very few things that are different between Malaysia, Australia, and our Caribbean neighbors, the United States, and all the countries of Europe. In short, there's nothing special about Trinidad and Tobago. We are just as exposed to the virus and to the results of the virus on a human...
Dog, boy, I cannot reset, boy.
So if
my game not resetting, dog.
Any country in a difficulty with the virus, you just say there, but for the grace of God, go Trinidad and Tobago. Because there's no difference. The virus does not give a pass to your race, to your color, even your geographical location. The only difference that we have among countries today is what we are prepared to do to get an upper hand or controlling position on an infection which covers the globe. As head of the government, I will join the minister who spoke to the private sector. I will instruct the head of the public service on Monday to instruct the ministries of government departments and through the Ministry of Finance, the Office of the Corporation, so to instruct state enterprises that as part of our virus control response, that there is to be no state-sponsored.
I actually can't even see my TV right now.
In the public sector in 2020. No Christmas partying, because partying before Christmas is out and Christmas partying is partying. There was one particular church in which there was a leader in the United States early in the pandemic who encouraged persons to come to his church on the grounds that his faith was so great that the virus will not, he said from the pulpit that the virus has no power in the house of God, and encouraged people to come to the church. Within the fortnight, he was dead from COVID-19. So while we acknowledge the birth of Christ and have been doing so for centuries, in 2020, let us do it without parties.
I want...
And therefore there is to be no Christmas celebration in the public sector. This I know will have an effect on the economies of those who support the Christmas party, the barang groups, and those who supply the drinks and the food and so on. I know that. But what this is about is to prevent people from congregating and being infected over the Christmas season, which will threaten us in January.
So nobody tell you to let me heal?
Not be in a position to consider.
Want somebody let me heal, I not let them heal.
In mid-January. Having said that, we know that there are people who will be personally affected by this. Today, there are people expecting us to open bars further because bars are open. Bars are open to sell as much beer and rum as they wish. What is not open is bars being allowed to invite people to congregate inside of bars. Let me repeat that. Bars are open in Trinidad and Tobago to sell as much alcohol as possible. There's no restriction on the sale and consumption of alcohol in this country. Whether from a bar, from a restaurant, from well, the restaurants you put a restriction because they serve it indoors. But from a market or anywhere else, what is on restriction is the invitation to people to come and congregate indoors at bars over alcohol. That is a restriction. And unfortunately, we will maintain that restriction because that congregation is in danger. However, what is being said by those who are affected this way Since their business is a business of encouraging congregation through the line, and we are restricting them to protect all of us, we need to bear a little of the burden that they're bearing. And therefore, I have asked the Minister of Finance to find an additional $10 million specifically to treat with employees who work in bars and restaurants and who have lost their jobs or who have suffered a reduction of their income. For the owners of bars and even restaurants who have lost or are losing their business, I would ask them to identify themselves to the money that we have made available for small business support and to access the generous small business support which is available to sustain their business going forward, and the government will ensure that the applications are treated with some element of alacrity. However, I want to say to my fellow citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the land of the smart man and the smart woman, when we offered salary grants,
man leave, yes? Sure, senior, the man leave after you get a hand, Bob Dog.
To get a salary,
you could believe that?
If you had to have had a job to get a salary, and when you lost that salary,
well, if he leaves, we might get to win tournament or something.
Not surprisingly, was that there were approximately 5,000 persons who dishonestly sought to get money through the salary grant arrangement, and a not insignificant number of persons who tried to get rent relief grants. These dishonest people who are part and parcel of our population, by being dishonest in this way, forced us to have to slow the process down to determine who actually qualifies and who didn't qualify. And that caused those who qualify to have got their grants later, or in some instances not to get it at all because the rush from those who didn't qualify. So having said that, I just said
I can't pop my fish way.
Restaurant staff who would have lost their jobs because of the lengthy closure of that aspect of the business. We will not just be handing out a check to you because you come and say so. It will be examined to ensure that those who qualify get it and those who don't qualify don't get it. And as I said to the owners of the business, there's some element of relief available to you. For those who are
I have control of this place.
Additional hardship, we have a Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. We have allocations to that ministry. And that ministry will treat with applications
you know, if
for
I'm
persons who are not applying in the context of the loss of job.
I would actually.
Plain and simple, can't make ends meet. Either because they were self-employed in all kinds of entrepreneurial business which do not now exist. And even though they were citizens making their way on their own, because of the change
go ahead.
where they were making that way, living on the margin, those margins have receded from
it's getting faster, babe.
and there are a number of them who are today facing some element of destitution. I have asked the Minister of Finance to find an additional $20 million for
it's stopping, pay itself, and
who will treat with such persons who will identify themselves to such offices, and as per examination, when it is determined that they are to be beneficiaries of that, after examination, especially when children are involved, that the departments, the public service departments, would
like when game chat day.
relatively generous between now and January.
Whoa, that man might
$20 million specifically to deal with persons who were self-employment
like when Galaxy Day.
as a result of how we are living today. For example, a person who would have been a vendor at a sports event, and who would have walked around the city preparing certain things and having income only at events, or a person who
blue pump only.
which now is not part of our because I'm not skeptical. I am very skeptical.
Wait, just now, let me put on my glow. Let me put on my rainbow real quick.
I know that some public servants are not as empathetic as
You have to put on my rainbow.
when people come to you and tell you I need help.
Alright, I put on my rainbow. There you go. You wanna put on rainbow too?
I simply ask you, public servants who would be responsible for dismissing these assistance programs.
Look, rainbow.
To the people who come.
Press glow.
You might make a mistake here or there. And
Pull long box.
but it's better if the smart man will do my
And then go back so. And you'll see
than for
rainbow over here by the switch.
in our population.
And look, me pick up my one.
Smart man with the smart woman.
Look, rainbow here, boy.
Go back to the police. And that's an instruction from the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right here.
Clear instances of
Just now, I'm gonna put back one rainbow.
such persons should be prosecuted to the
Can't get back rainbow
of
though.
the law because
Alright.
I do not want our children somewhere within our border
Alright, that rainbow.
because the
There you go.
public servants have been so careful to keep out the smart man or the smart woman that children have gone because it's clean and out. Those of us who are relatively comfortable, just remember that when you feed yourself, there might be one or two families in this country who do not know where the next meal is coming from. And that is not a Trinidad and Tobago thing. Yesterday, in my monitoring of other people's circumstances, I saw 34 million people in the United States have fallen below the poverty line.
For survivor?
Sometimes 34 million people in the richest country in the world. Trinidad and Tobago. It is something that all governments have to do. I mentioned to you a while ago.
Go, go, go.
If you work
the state of service,
you working for,
and then
and all of these things that they're taking in. All kind of shit that I listen to them in social
poverty and destitution has brought about dire economic
them fucking boys.
and horrendous. We in Trinidad and Tobago, we are not
If
in
you're
that situation that we have our own difficulty. And what I'm trying to do here is in a managed way, trying to reach out to those who are affected. And not logistical.
Gosh, boy. You have to do my so,
It
boy.
would have been easy to know
On my stream too, boy.
anywhere. Unfortunately, we are not
Yes,
here
boy.
for a position of the unique identifier. So it is difficult to manage and
I bet.
But hopefully, if we're ever in this situation again, God forbid, we should be in a position to know who is who and who is not who, because our infrastructure will allow that. Among the changes we make this weekend, very small changes,
How you select
we
me?
will allow food services in casinos. That had slipped through the crack in the last fortnight. We've allowed it in cinemas, children's cinemas and casinos, but we allow that. And of course, we met on Friday to discuss our management of the congregation and what changes we will make. And on Friday, before Saturday,
Yes!
that there was no abuse in the context of what we
I
do.
just feel the screen sexy there. Your
There
phone.
was no
Well, didn't really see that because, like, yeah,
and therefore we took a decision
because it was kind of like a flick.
hunters to hunt again. Not that we're extending the hunting season. It will close as normal. But we will have prevented hunting for about 6 weeks.
There's two
On
on it.
Monday, the minister, responsible minister of agriculture, will take the necessary steps to have the registration of hunters done normally so that by the end of the next weekend, hunters could be allowed to hunt. And I say that in detail because I want those who have come this morning on Facebook with all kinds of foolishness about the Minister of Health. Our decision has nothing to do with you. Because as Prime Minister, I will not be swayed by any such behavior. Our decisions are made against serious analysis, and the decision to allow us to go back out was done on Friday, and I will instruct the Minister on Monday, and it will take a few days for the hunting permits to be issued and so on, and so that we can continue to 8 weeks of hunting. It is not an extension of the hunting season. The hunting season ends at a particular date for the next year, at least in the February, and the law is there, and that law remains in place. I want to say that
I like him, just know. That one don't come, that's all I'm saying, just know though. I was lagging.
And that proposal is to use
So that one don't come though.
Not just you lagging and I see something.
I buy. It comes.
to allow us to have an increased level of transportation that will have benefits for Tobago and cause opportunities elsewhere. And hopefully here in Tobago,
Oh, wait, why?
you may see that test coming on stream. The Minister of Health will make the outcome of these examinations available to you as to whether we'll be able to do tests other than PCR tests that are being used now. And for Christmas, I want to once again
How I found one in front of me.
that what happens in
Harry Potter
2021
in yourself.
will be determined by our behavior over Christmas.
What is it?
At this stage,
Yeah,
I
Harry
want to
Potter in
ask
yourself.
my staff
What is?
to show you
That means you're only trapping yourself and falling down.
responding to their threats of the virus. So you can see how some people in a Commonwealth country close to us is responding. Can we get the officer from Toronto?
Our top priority has always been the health and well-being of all Ontarians. Despite the range of public health measures and restrictions that have been in place since early October, we've seen the situation continue to worsen in regions across the province, particularly in hotspots like Peel and Toronto. It's clear more needs to be done to limit community transmission of COVID-19 so that we can keep our schools open, safeguard our health system capacity, and protect our most vulnerable. As we've seen around the world, lockdowns are a difficult but necessary step to prevent COVID-19 outbreaks and bend the curve in the number of new cases. Based on the recent data, and to protect the health and well-being of people and families in these communities, Peel Public Health and Toronto Public Health will be moving to lockdown effective Monday, November 23rd at 12:01 a.m. Measures under lockdown include no indoor private gatherings will be permitted with anyone outside.
Why I always messing up my retakes,
Who
boy?
may have close contact with one another outside. Outdoor gatherings will be limited to a maximum.
Just know, boy. Let me after get this retake cold,
Non-essential
boy.
services in shopping malls can operate through pickup or delivery. Non-essential storefront retail can stay open for curbside pickup or delivery.
Edit!
Restaurants must close indoor dining.
Why try and edit so much? I wasn't doing that this morning.
Religious services and weddings will be restricted to 10 people indoors and 10 people outdoors. Gyms, sports facilities, cinemas, casinos, museums,
I felt
and
bad. I
personal
think that much
services
of this controller, babe.
manufacturing, agriculture, supply chain, and most construction can continue. These measures are being put in place to prioritize the essential services we rely on.
My gosh.
Thank you very much.
I got fix my whole sense.
Tobago and my staff from Trinidad. I played that clip so that you can understand and compare what we are experiencing here in Trinidad and Tobago and what others are experiencing and what their governments are doing in response. Because, you know, there are some people amongst us who would like you to believe that you are suffering as a result of the stupidity of the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the uncaring nature of the Prime Minister himself. I hope you were able to glean from that Ontario kind of response, which comes into effect on November 23rd, which is when? Monday. So that comes into effect on Monday in Toronto, Canada, where a lot of our citizens live. None of whom could tell you that they are better off here than they are in Trinidad and Tobago. We, as I started out by saying, all governmental leaders have a responsibility to respond to a virus, the same virus, whether it is in Turkey, in Ireland, in Australia, or Toronto.
I just got my homework notifications and said I should
Trinidad and Tobago can rest assured that as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, notwithstanding the advice that I may get from
I
others,
know I remember the thing, but I have it course.
to give the population of Trinidad and Tobago the best chance to avoid a deterioration of our circumstances. Thank you very much, and we'll take your questions now.
Already, boys. Reset the bell, Big long libel sudah already. Come. How much it is this? 2? Yeah. After that, you won't be on way. wait, just more. I'm gonna drop this here. Okay.
Yeah, let me drop it.
I'm missing all my shots. I can't even my phone. I'm missing all my shots, right? I can't even my phone. Boy, of course, boy. But I'm missing all my shots, boy. Of course, boy. That's fed up. Just no, boy. Of course, boy.
Empowering you.
Come on, boxer! Gosh, boy. Shots Runia 54 minutes are playing it, so let me go on more account like I'm gonna more account fast.